mother has launched a wrongful death lawsuit against the social media app TikTok. This after her 10-year-old daughter died after allegedly taking part in a viral social media challenge. The lawsuit alleges that Tawana Anderson's daughter, Nyla, died in December after participating in the so-called Blackout challenge that she had seen on the app. The challenge encourages participants to try and hold their breath until they pass out. The mother has been warning other parents since this tragic loss. Here's a clip of her from back in December.
She was a butterfly. She was everything. She was a happy child.
10-year-old Nyla Anderson is described as fun and bright. She spoke 3 languages. Like most tweens, she was on social media and participated in the recently popular, viral, and extremely dangerous Blackout challenge.
Challenge to see sort of how long almost you can be breathless or, hold your breath in but it can result in a strangulation.
Doctors say Nyla was at home when she tried the trend.
It's a pain that don't go away. It sits in your stomach, and it sits at the top of your throat. And I'm so hurt.
Medical authorities say the lack of oxygen can lead to cardiac arrest and other medical dangers.
Significant organ damage, including brain damage, which really is one of the most vulnerable organs to lack of oxygen and even death.
Nyla's mom wants parents to pay attention.
Make sure you checking your kids' phones. Just pay attention because you never know what you might find in their phones or the things they trying that you think 10-year-olds wouldn't try. They're trying because they're kids and they don't know no better.
So again, according to the lawsuit filed this week, Nyla tried to mimic this challenge, and when she went into her mother's closet with a clothes hanger and purse, that's when her mother found her passed out, rushed her to the hospital where she spent days in pediatric intensive care before succumbing to her injuries. Now, Anderson has accused TikTok and its parent company of negligence and having a defective design. The lawsuit blames the platform algorithms for exposing a young child to such a dangerous challenge. Join me now with a legal perspective is criminal defense attorney and anchor at Law and Crime Network, Bob Bianchi. Bob, thank you so much for joining me. Bob, such a tragic story, such a beautiful young girl, a senseless loss of life there, and you have to wonder who's to blame here. I mean, TikTok, this isn't anything new. We've heard about these very dangerous challenges, and this isn't the first person who has died because of participating in these challenges.
Yes, Stephanie, but the companies also, TikTok and the other social media platform companies are saying, well before social media, these things were getting around in the circle of kids and they were doing things that caused them to die. The thing that social media is doing is amplifying this content so that so many people see it. So there's been this debate that's gone on for many years legally with Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act about whether social media platforms should be able to be sued, and there's debate and argument where actually there's consensus, agreement, and disagreement amongst the right and amongst the left. But the bottom line here, the interesting part of this lawsuit is it's saying we're not suing over the content. What they're doing is on a legal theory of product liability, essentially, where they're saying that the algorithm rather, is literally forcing this content to 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, young teenagers, and that therefore this product is defective. So we're not limiting the content of what's on the platform, and therefore it's not protected by Section 230, but rather we're saying that by driving this to these individuals, you're committing consumer fraud and products liability. So it's a different kind of theory to try to get around Section 230 of that law. Listen, something needs to be done. Stephanie, last point, when I was the prosecutor, and I know there's a lot of pushback I got for this, when I would tell parents that you're not their friend and you're not their next door neighbor, you're their parent, and you need to see everything it is that they're doing. Privacy concerns have to go out the door when literally a predator can come through the phone, can come through a gaming app, whether or not it's this crazy how to harm yourself. You have to be very proactive, but then we have to come to a society as to what we're going to do legally in order to protect children from having this pumped into literally their bedrooms and in their homes where the parents lots of times don't even know.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of danger with social media when it comes to young people. I know when I have kids, not going to let them on social media until they're like 18. And that's for more of the details of this. So you're talking about the algorithm, and it sounds like this mother is accusing TikTok of putting this algorithm and like populating this young girl's phone with it. So for example, I could be on TikTok and not see that, but TikTok is pushing this towards some people, younger groups or people they think would be interested in it. And my other question too is, you know, a lot of times social media, right, they're censoring things that they don't like, particularly when it comes to conservative conversation, but then they don't censor this type of stuff. So, you know, they do have algorithms and things to censor content they don't like. So why wouldn't this just immediately be taken off the platform? And it's not like it popped up overnight and they couldn't control it the next day. This has been going on for a long time. Like, there was another recent death of a young man who did the same exact challenge.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that, listen, the law and the Congress has got to get to a point where they make it very clear, to the point you're just making there, that if you have knowledge of this dangerous content and you're literally have an algorithm that is pushing it to young people, and you bring out a really good point, Stephanie. Even if you're a concerned parent and you're watching Twitter or the social media platforms for what content is out there, the algorithm may not be pushing it to the parent. So the parent has no idea that this is out there, which gives them the opportunity to speak to their kids and say, listen, I see that this is out there. You know how dangerous it is. No, rather, the argument in the lawsuit is that you're purposefully pushing this. There's been lots of stories about actually pushing through the algorithms, things about bulimia and eating disorders specifically targeted towards children, and then advertising dollars that follow with that. And then us as a society have to come to a place where we stop politicizing this particular issue, especially as it relates to our children, and saying, look, there are certain rules of the road that if you're pushing data to children that is harmful, putting these ideas into their heads, we can act against you as a company. Now, when you're dealing with political discourse and political speech amongst adults, that's a different story. Censorship should not be there for those kind of things unless it's inciting illegality. But when it comes to children, gosh, can't we all come to an agreement with regard to the fact that things like this should not be put through, and that parents are unaware of this and these tragedies? We have to stop them. They're happening all over the country in so many different ways, shapes, and forms. How many young people have to die?
Exactly. And you brought up so many great points. And my question is, social media altogether, they can censor a Hunter Biden story, but then they can't censor this TikTok challenge, right? And so it leaves you just wondering, like, what is going on here? And as I pointed out, I would understand sometimes it's hard to catch everything. But as I pointed out, this has happened before this young girl died. Let me do a throwback clip so I can show our audience. Roll tape.
Joshua Haliosis was found unconscious in the bathroom of his family's Colorado home by his brother. His father says Joshua appears to have tried to choke himself with a shoelace. He was taken to the hospital, but after a week, his father says he was told that there is nothing more that medicine can do for his son.
I was begging them on the floor, pleading to see if they can give me some time. Just don't give up on him, don't give up on him. It's just heartbreaking to see him laying on the bed.
The family says they believe Joshua was doing a social media challenge, similar to what is known as the Blackout challenge, where people try to hold their breath for as long as they can. Now this grieving father wants other parents to know that these so-called challenges are not games.
So this was reported on of March of 2021. And so, you know, we're in 2022 and it's like, they still haven't gotten this challenge off of TikTok. What the heck? And again, the list goes on. And there's other dangerous challenges out there. Like, we've probably talked about the Tide Pod challenge and how so many people got sick and some people died from it, and so on. So again, they need to get a handle on this. And also too, you know, parents try to do their best to keep an eye on what their kids are up to, but the internet is like the wild, wild west and can be a very dangerous place for kids. Aside from the dangers, also to what it does to the mind, there's been lawsuits and questions about the influence social media has on young kids and what it's doing to their brains. I mean, fortunately, I didn't have to grow up with that type of stuff. I'm wondering what type of person I would be today if I was exposed to this type of material and content on a daily basis. And, you know, probably be a very different person.
Yeah, I mean, I think we see this a lot with in my world, and we were just talking about this the other day with all the shootings that are going on and these children that are finding this information on social media apps that do not have the maturity to understand the themes that they're dealing with. You add in a little bit of mental illness and a little bit of addiction on top of that, and you have a recipe for a very caustic situation in which people are going to do crazy things. And I don't think that the kids, because of the way they're being raised with the social media and with regard to the computers, they've lost the connectivity, if you will, with human beings and compassion. So where a mature adult can see some incendiary content and not be motivated to pick up a gun and shoot people, these kids are not developing the social skills to make a difference between what they should be doing and shouldn't be doing. So, I mean, there's so many issues. And again, it's up to law enforcement. It's up to the communities. I mean, I did this as a law enforcement officer. I would go out and I would try to explain to them, these are the dangers that are out there. And it'd be surprising because some parents gave you a lot of pushback, like, how dare you tell us, you know, I trust my child, and so on and so forth. But unfortunately, we were the ones bringing in the body bags.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Bob, thank you so much. We appreciate your insight. Got to leave it here.